"When I have investigated it fully, I will let you know," came the faintest of modulations on the breeze.
"Yes," murmured the Lawmaster. A thought struck him. "During daylight, please," he added. "You clowns!" screamed Harun from his perch on Nine Reed's foreclaws. "What did he say?" roared Rincewind as the dragon ripped its way through the air in the race for the heights.
"Didn't hear!"
bellowed Two-Flower, his voice torn away by the gale. As the dragon banked slightly, he looked down at the little toy spinning top that was the mighty Wyrmberg, and saw the swarm of creatures rising in pursuit. Nine Reed's wings pounded and flicked the air away contemptuously. Thinner air, too. Two-Flower's ear popped for the third time. Ahead of the swarm, he noticed, was a golden dragon. Someone on it, too. "Hey, are you all right?" said Rincewind urgently. He had to drink in several lungfuls of the strangely distilled air in order to get the words out. "I could have been a lord, and you clowns had to go and—" Harun gasped, as the chill thin air drew the life even out of his mighty chest. "What's happening to the air?" muttered Rincewind. Blue lights appeared in front of his eyes. "Huh?" said Two-Flower, and passed out. The dragon vanished. For a few seconds the three men continued upwards, Two-Flower and the wizard presenting an odd picture as they sat one in front of the other with their legs astride something that wasn't there. Then what passed for gravity on the disc recovered from surprise and claimed them. At that moment, Liessa's dragon flashed by, and Harun landed heavily across its neck. Liessa leaned over and kissed him. This detail was lost to Rincewind as he dropped away with his arm still clasped round Two-Flower's waist. The disc was a little round map pinned against the sky. It didn't appear to be moving, but Rincewind knew that it was. The whole world was coming towards him like a giant custard pie. "Wake up!" he shouted above the roar of the wind. "Dragons! Think of dragons!" There was a flurry of wings as they plummeted through the host of pursuing creatures, which fell away and up. Dragons screamed and wheeled across the sky. No answer came from Two-Flower. Rincewind's robe whipped around him, but he did not wake. Dragons, thought Rincewind in a panic. He tried to concentrate his mind, tried to envisage a really lifelike dragon. If he can do it, he thought, then so can I. But nothing happened. The disc was bigger now, a cloud-swirled circle rising gently underneath them. Rincewind tried it again, screwing up his eyes and straining every nerve in his body. A dragon. His imagination, a somewhat battered and overused organ, reached out for a dragon. Any dragon.
"It won't work. You don't believe in them."
Rincewind looked at the terrible mounted apparition grinning at him, and his mind bolted in terror. There was a brilliant flash. There was utter darkness. There was a soft floor under Rincewind's feet, a pink light around him, and the sudden shocked cries of many people. He looked around wildly. He was standing in some kind of tunnel, which was mostly filled with seats, in which outlandishly dressed people had been strapped. They were all shouting at him. "Wake up," he hissed. "Help me." Dragging the still unconscious tourist with him, he backed away from the mob until his free hand found an oddly shaped door handle. He twisted it and ducked through, then slammed it hard. He stared around the new room in which he found himself, and met the terrified gaze of a young woman who dropped the tray she was holding and screamed. It sounded like the sort of scream that brings muscular help. Rincewind, awash with fear-distilled adrenaline, turned and barged past her. There were more seats here, and the people in them ducked as he dragged Two-Flower urgently along the central gangway. Beyond the rows of seats were little windows. Beyond the windows, against a background of fleecy clouds, was a dragon's wing. It was silver. "I've been eaten by a dragon," he thought. "That's ridiculous," he replied. "You can't see out of dragons." Then his shoulder hit the floor at the far end of the tunnel, and he followed it through into a cone-shaped room that was even stranger than the tunnel. It was full of tiny, glittering lights. Among the lights, in contoured chairs, were 4 men who were now staring at him open-mouthed. As he stared back, he saw their gazes dart sideways. Rincewind turned slowly. Beside him was a 5th man, youngish, bearded, as swarthy as the nomad folk of the Great Neff. "Where am I?" said the wizard. "In the belly of a dragon?" The young man crouched back and shoved a small black box in the wizard's face. The men in the chairs ducked down. "What is it?" said Rincewind. "A picture box?" He reached out and took it.